And how's everybody doing tonight? It's Brooklyn Dave back at it once again. And tonight, I'm going to be analyzing a game played by none other than Paul Charles Morphy. This is an old game, 1849. And he's playing a guy named Carpentier, who I believe might have been his uncle, but he was an amateur. But so was Morphy then. They didn't have the rating systems they do now. They didn't have official world championships. They had a kind of world champion. I think it was Staunton at that time. And later on, Morphy went on a tour of Europe and wanted to play Staunton. Staunton ran away from him, but he played a great match with Anderson, who I posted a game by last week, the Evergreen game. If you haven't seen that, beautiful game. And I'm not going to go in order, but I want to post some games by some of the great ones that started it all. Before Tal, before Nezhmadimov, before Polgar, before Fischer, Carlson. There was Morphy, one of the greatest attackers of all time. So without further ado, let's just get ourselves a chessboard and get into the game and see what we can find out. Okay? And now you'll notice that there's something missing here. Do you notice that? There's no rook. Like I say, Morphy was spotting him a rook. So you can't play conservative if you're spotting a rook, obviously. So you have to play aggressively. So let's see how this game progresses. So we start off with e4. That's Morphy white, of course. And we have e5. And then we got knight f3. And when you spot somebody a rook, you can't mess around. You got to play very active. You can't play positional and try and get into an end game and win an end game. You ain't winning an end game if you're down a rook, unless you can get it back somehow. So knight c6. So far, so good. Everything's normal. d4, Scotch Gambit. Something that I play, as a matter of fact. He takes bishop c4. Actually, it could have been a Scotch game. It's not until you don't take this pawn back right away that it becomes a gambit. And now we got a bishop b4 check. c3. D takes c3. And Morphy just castles. So we saw some other games like this. We saw the Anderson game kind of was like this too. Except he did something a little different. He went to b4 and went into an Evans gambit and then transposed into the Scotch. So they were all related. Now he takes here. Greed. Morphy takes back, of course. Now look at the board right here. Now Morphy, let's see, we have 2, 3, 4, 5. So Morphy is down a rook and 2 pawns. So all Anderson has to do is just be careful and trade off pieces, right? When you're up material, you trade off pieces. But for some reason, he's kind of afraid he undevelops. Don't ask me. But let's see how Morphy takes advantage of this. Remember, he can't be wrong. He's got to win. Because he's down a rook over here. No rook. Rook should be there, but it's not. Okay. So e5, d6. Trying to get some development, I guess. Rook e1. Doesn't take. He wants to keep developing. As I said before, this rook is developed right where it is here. Here it was not developed. But here on e1 it is, because it's backing up this pawn and aimed at his king. And this rook's an important piece, as you'll see in a minute. And it's developed right where it is. It doesn't need to go anywhere else. He takes e5. So here we are. Morphy's down all this material, but he's got an attack going. So he plays knight takes. And look at this. Another thing that you might have noticed. He's letting the queens come off. How could that happen? You're letting the queens come off? You're letting the queens come off when you're down a rook already? It's pretty crazy. I'm sure that was Le Carpentier was amazed by that. So, of course, he takes it. Wouldn't you? And here it comes. Here comes the fireworks. Checky poo. He doesn't even take back the queen. Most people would take it back immediately. It's King D7. Look at this move. Discover check. So we got a double check. Boom and bada bing. I love this. This is just amazing. G6 check. King takes. And this is mate. See it? Look at this. You didn't see it. You didn't see it till the mate was delivered. Neither did his opponent. That square is taken. That square is held by the knight. That's no good. And this entire file is held by the rook. So where does the king go? Knight H8 mate on move 13. Is that a beautiful thing or what? Look at that. And that's the kind of way you can get mated without even realizing it until the move is actually played. Look at this position. It's a thing of beauty. That's what makes this game worthwhile, right? That's what makes this game so beautiful. So, that's it. Short but sweet, as I promised. It's just amazing. Even I had played over the game a while back. I probably played it over years ago too. It's a famous game. But I had forgotten. Even now, I was like, as I'm playing the moves, I know it works, that he gets mated on move 13. But on move 11, I wasn't seeing it. I had forgotten. That's got to be one of the most beautiful mates ever. He never took back the queen. At the time of the mate, he was down a rook and a queen. A full rook and a full queen. It's amazing. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be looking at some other great games. They won't all be like this. Capablanca was one of my idols years ago. Capablanca did not play this way. He was a positional player, one of the great endgame players. I'm going to study different openings, and that's the way I like to study them. So rather than, okay, let's study this opening, we study full-on games that use these openings, and we learn the ideas of the openings and the plans. And then later, you shouldn't really study openings much till you hit at least 15, 1600. And even then, you shouldn't be studying them until you study some end games and middle games. A lot of great players, IMs and GMs, friends of mine have told me, study from the end game forward. Meaning the end game, middle game, then the openings. Now you got to study the openings a little. If you're going to play it, you'll get killed in the openings. But study opening theory. Get yourself a little repertoire, like 1 or 2 openings for white and a couple of defenses for black. You know, what do you do against E4, C4, etc. And that's it. And I will be going over probably at least once a week. We'll have a game of the great masters. And join our channel. You know, become a member. $10 a month, $20 a month, it's less than $1 a day. And we'll start getting some content up for the members. There already are a few. I don't have all your names yet, but I will shout you out. And you'll have an opportunity to either through Discord or email, you'll be able to submit questions and games. And we will take a look at some of your games. By me, humble me. No, I'm not a grandmaster, far from it. But I can attack. And if you like the video, like the video. I won't tell if you ring that bell and get notifications. Subscribe to our channel. And don't get Daved, and certainly don't get Morphied. Take care. Have a good night.